I started my company when I was 9, and that past summer, when I was 8, I went to a science summer camp, and I just so happened to be the only girl at the camp and one of a few minorities that were at the camp. And the camp counselors kept calling me their little princess, and I didn't want to be a princess. I wanted to be a scientist, just like the boys there. So
we finally have our STEM swag box.
There's so many cool things in the box.
But today, guys, we're going to be doing the self-inflating balloon.
So let's get started.
And we already have our materials. We have a test tube, vinegar, some baking soda, a small balloon, and a funnel. First, we're going to pour 1 teaspoon of baking soda into the balloon. Now we're going to fold this halfway up with some vinegar.
So let's see what happens. This is the coolest science kit ever!
And we're definitely going to try out more experiments. And my name is Landon.
And my name is Daniel.
And shout out to Just Temple.
All right. Awesome. Temple, is that the shirt that you're wearing? Is that one of the shirts that you sell?
yes, it is. This is actually my special shirt because it has sparkles, but STEM Girl Swag shirt is a part of my STEM Swag shop, which is on my website, justtemple.com.
I love the shirt with sparkles. Can you please? I need to bedazzle our logo here. That would be so awesome. And I love the jacket. It complements your shirt so well. Temple, I'm so grateful, excited that you're here with us today. You are one busy lady, and I love it. You are just doing such an awesome job with your company. Tell us a little bit about what you've done today, because today alone you were packed.
Today, I think this past week has been actually a lot of stuff I had to do, but today was pretty decent. I'm in school. I'm an 8th grader. I'm 13 years old. I have work to do. I have to get all stuff ready for high school and everything. And it's almost the end of semester, so got to get all those assignments in. But I had an asynchronous day of school, so I didn't actually have to attend any classes, but I have to do work to turn in, of course. But I had to also host a panel for youth entrepreneurs, and it was Global Entrepreneur Week this week. So I got to host that panel, and I also got to answer some questions along, and it was such an incredible job to do, work to do, because all of these youth, they were so amazing, and they were older than me because, as I said, I'm 13, so they were like 18 and 16 and 21, but they're still considered youth in the society today. And now I'm doing this amazing podcast, so it's been a busy day, and then I also have some work to do after this.
Okay, we're not going to hold you too long because we want you to make sure you're passing your classes and getting your homework in on time. But I'm sure you were just as impressed you were with those older youth. I'm sure they were extremely impressed with you, especially hosting. That takes a whole other skill set, and that I'm impressed. That's amazing, Temple. We're just going to keep this going because I want us to learn a little bit more about you. You said you're in 8th grade. You've got homework to do after this. We know those two things. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, your future plans, and what you intend on doing in pursuing a STEM career.
So again, my name is Temple Lester, and I am 13 years old. And when I was 9 years old, I actually created my company, Just Temple. And I just created it to encourage my peers, my classmates, my cousins to get interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, because I realized that not a lot of youth were as interested in it as I was. And I have always loved science ever since I was a child. I didn't do what society normalized as girly things. I didn't play with dolls. When I was younger, I would go to my grandma's house and wash rocks. And one thing over quarantine, when I went to her house to visit her, which I do not so often because of quarantine, of course, but whenever I do go over there, one time she showed me her coffee bag thing that had all my rocks in it from when I was young. So that was pretty cool to see. But then again, I started my company when I was 9, and that past summer, when I was 8, I went to a science summer camp, and I just so happened to be the only girl at the camp and one of a few minorities that were at the camp. And the camp counselors kept calling me their little princess, and I didn't want to be a princess. I wanted to be a scientist, just like the boys there. So that's where my company really started from.
Oh, wow. You go, girl. I want to be a scientist and not a princess. And, of course, I know exactly what you mean by that. It's not that there's anything wrong with being a princess, but hey, your passions and your focus is that you want to be a scientist and you want to be treated just like any other scientist that was there at that camp and in your future career endeavors. That is amazing. Um, you told us a little bit about the inspiration, you've noticed since you were younger, maybe your peers, especially girls your age, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is not it's not the cool thing to do. And so tell us a little bit more about the motivation and inspiration behind you creating this STEM girl swag. I love that, by the way.
Definitely. So, as I said before, the story about my time at summer camp, and that's really what inspired my company. And then a couple years later, when I was in fifth grade was an incredible year for me in terms of business wise and what really started my stuff. So, when I was in fifth grade, I got into the STEM talk competition for Georgia, and it was like a TED talk, but talking about our adventures in STEM. And I told the story I just told everybody about me going to science camp and being a minority and being a girl and being called a princess. And I called it trading in my crown for a lab jacket. And I won the competition along with 2 other 12th graders, seniors in high school. And I was in 5th grade. I was in elementary school still. And I won the competition. I got to go to Athens, Georgia, UGA, and speak to over 5,000 science teachers about the importance of girls and minorities in STEM. And that's really where STEM Girls Swag started. STEM Girls Swag is all about getting girls, minorities into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, because a lot of the times some minorities and some girls, they don't think, oh, it's not cool enough. Oh, you're a nerd, you're a geek if you're into science. And I just wanted to prove, hey, I love clothes, I love shoes, I love everything swag, I love rap, I love R&B, I love everything that you would consider swag, but I also am into STEM and I want to be an astrophysicist. And I do all these fun science experiments. So that's what really STEM Girl Swag is all about, encouraging girls and minorities to take an interest in STEM.
That is so cool. What would you say that impact is? How would you describe, you're speaking to these girls, your peers, or, adults? As you said, you had that amazing opportunity. UGA is my alma mater, so that's so cool. Go Dogs.
I'm a tech fan. My dad went to Georgia Tech, so.
Oh no! Well, you know what? Our CEO of our company is a tech alum, so you're right. That you're still right on track. So we're good to go. But tell me a little bit about what you notice when you're speaking to your peers or these adults. What's that impact that you leave with them? What type of inspiration? How do you affect them?
Yeah, so definitely the first thing I realized, even before I go up in public speak about the importance of girls and minorities and what I do to advocate, I always realized that maybe some people don't believe in what I do because I'm so young and maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm not as educated as they may think I am, or as they may think someone who talks about this has to be. So then I amazed them with my speaking skills and my advocacy. And from that, I've got a lot of the most important thing with my business and earning more public speaking gigs and earning time to talk to more classes and different kids is word of mouth. So once they figure out about me, once they see me, they'll contact their friends that are doing all this incredible stuff. And I go there and I talk to those kids and I talk to those adults. And personally, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I like talking to adults a lot better than I do kids. Kids, you have to quiet them down sometimes. Like, it's all fun when I do experiments with kids, but just the public speak, sometimes they can get bored and kids aren't afraid to show their feelings. So adults are a lot more fun to talk to. That may also come from me being an only child. I've spent all my time with adults, so my cousins are all way older than me. So maybe that's where that came from, but adults, I like them better.
That's interesting because you are so on point with when you speak to kids, that is a tough crowd and you have to be prepared in a way that you never thought you would need to be. But I'm sure you attack it and you execute it with such class and vigor. And I'm sure you inspire them just as much as you inspire, if not more, than the adults that you speak to. But speaking of this STEM girl swag, I'm telling you guys, I'm going on the website. Gotta get a shirt. We got to check out your website, of course, and learn a little bit more about you. And we also see that you're selling these STEM swag boxes. Tell us a little bit about the item and what comes inside the box.
So the STEM Swag box, it came out around a year ago. It's almost its 1 year anniversary. So that's really exciting. The box is just full of science experiments. It's the coolest science kit ever. And I'm just gonna talk about one of my favorite things in the box, just to describe it for everybody, is that there's a picture of me on the back of the box. And what my most important thing is with my company is involving girls and minorities in STEM. So I think about if there's a little girl, a little brown girl, a little black girl, a little minority girl, a person of color that's out there, and they see me on the back of this box, they're like, wow, I see somebody who looks like me doing something incredible that I don't see a lot of people who look like me doing. And that's really what my most important thing is, and that's what's keep me going. But the box is the coolest science kit ever. It has like 7 different experiments in it, all involving science. The favorite, fan favorite, the buyer's favorite, kids' favorite is magnetic slime. Kids love slime. My first ever YouTube video was me doing slime, so I did it way before the hype of slime came out. But kids love slime. They love playing with that glue. I love slime still to this day, and it's been 4 years since I created that first video. But slime, my favorite experiment is a plant seed ball, which is made out of recycled paper, water, and seeds, all blended up and rolled into a ball, and you can plant it, and you can also make the experiment on your own. So those are just 2 of the top and 2 of my favorites.
Wow. Yeah. You can't beat that. I mean, science experiments, when you get to be hands-on and be creative and also think technically and problem solve. I mean, how cool is that? And then saying that this is the coolest kit ever. I mean, you guys, you have to check out that kit and purchase some of these kits to utilize and inspire some of the youth and some of these younger generations. So, Temple, we're going to wrap up this first section. I've enjoyed so much just getting to know you at this introductory level. Tell us a little bit about where we can follow your journey and learn more information about these the STEM swag boxes and STEM girl swag.
So all my social media handles are Just Temple, JUSTTMPLE. Instagram, my Twitter is actually Just Temple 1. My website is justtemple.com, YouTube Just Temple, all of that. Go follow me there. I show you what's going on in my life, vlogs, photos, everything.
That's exciting. Temple told us a little bit about herself. My goodness, this 8th grader is just, wow, she is impacting the world in a way that we really need at this time. She's loved science ever since she was a young girl. She went to this camp and did not want to be called a princess. She traded her crown in for a lab coat. She wants to be a scientist just like the rest of the boys, of the students who attended that. I think that's so awesome. She told us a little bit about the STEM girl swag and how it took off and launched in the 5th grade when she was invited to do the STEM talk. And that right there motivated over 5,000 adults at the University of Georgia. And she continues to have these awesome opportunities of motivational speaking across the world, across the nation. And we discussed the STEM swag box, which is comprised of 7 experiments, and it's called the coolest kit ever. You guys just follow her on justtemple.com, and you'll be able to connect with her there. And Temple will be right back. We'll take a quick break. And we are back with Just Temple. We had the pleasure of talking a little bit about her inspiration and motivation behind creating her company, and also the STEM Girl Swag and the STEM Swag Box. I mean, I'm just so pumped up to keep going and learn a little bit more about your career pathways. That's really what I want to take the time in doing in this section. So, Temple, you're on your way to becoming an astrophysicist. Tell us a little bit about what an astrophysicist does.
So, astrophysicist is just a astronomer that involves physics into what they do. So they're all about learning ways to help NASA and learning ways to help humans learn more about outer space from a physics point of view and from an astronomer's point of view, just all mixed in together. And I started off wanting to be an astronomer, but then I was like, I like physics too, so why can't we incorporate it into what I want to do?
So, what subjects are you learning in school that relate to a career as an astrophysicist? And if you're not currently focused on some of those particular subject areas, tell us a little bit about what you know about the subjects that you will probably take in high school and in college.
So right now I am in chemistry and physics, eighth grade chemistry and physics right now, and I'm also in honors geometry, which is crazy as an eighth grader because that's 2 years ahead of where I am. But I do honors geometry and I do physics and chemistry. So all of those are, of course, incorporated. As I said, the physics part is what an astrophysicist is, just mixed in with astronomy. It's like they had a little baby together. But I do chemistry too, and everything's always about experimenting and seeing what can I put in with something else that can help us survive out in outer space. And then geometry, I'm learning my theorems. I'm learning what I need to do to actually figure out an unknown. Geometry is a little hard. It was a little hard to get used to, but I'm getting there. So just those three subjects are really what's at the base of everything that you need to know to become a scientist, no matter what field you want to go into. So all those are really out helping with what I want to do. And then of course I do my research outside of school. I love researching no matter what it is. I'm a history buff. I love trivia. I know everything that's happening in the media right now. You can ask me any of those. But I do my research. I watch different astrophysicists. I watch NASA. I watch when they send people to the moon. There was actually Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk, he was sending people to the ISS a couple of days ago. So I ran down from doing my geometry homework to come watch it with my dad. And it's super cool because you don't get to see a lot of late night aircraft and rockets. So that was really cool because it's like once every few years.
So the perks about virtual learning, right? You get to pause what you're doing and run down and not miss such an awesome experience. Wow, that's so awesome. So tell me a little bit about how did you hear about the career?
So Neil deGrasse Tyson was always one of my first scientists that I looked up to, mostly because it was he's one of the main Black scientists that's out. So I thought, hey, there's somebody that has my skin tone who's doing something that I like so much. So I got in it from there. But also I have a love for astrology, which is zodiac signs and learning how outer space affects us personally and our personality and who we are. So I have a love for astrology, and that turned into a love for astronomy, which turned into a love for astrophysics. And then another person is Jedidah Eisler. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name correctly, but she is one of the first African American women in astrophysics. So as an African American woman, I was like, yeah, definitely let me go and see her journey. Let me see what she's all about.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think it ties into, the purpose behind what you're doing as well. By placing your face on that box, I mean, you're going to ultimately do the same thing and continue to inspire minorities and girls in going into whether it's astrophysics, becoming an astrophysicist. Say that 3 times fast. Yes. And my tongue is literally on fire from saying that word. But ultimately, whether you inspire them in going into the career pathway that you've chosen or just any STEM career pathway, that is awesome. So we talked about, being able to stay up to date with what NASA is doing, what Tesla is doing, staying informed within your industry. Outside of school, what other activities, and actually this may be a 2-part question because school is so different right now with this pandemic. So maybe what you were doing before could be a little bit different now, but tell us a little bit about, post pandemic and currently what you're doing right now, some activities, and STEM resources that you're involved in, either inside or outside the school?
Yeah. So definitely schooling is hard. I'm not really in any clubs because I did change schools over the summer during the pandemic. So I don't really know anybody there. I'm doing online too. So I don't really know anybody. But of course I love to stay up to date and learn what's happening in the media, as I said. So I'm really focused on, hey, what's the new SpaceX event, or what's the new Apple event, or what's happening somewhere in California, or what's happening up in space? What meteor shower can I see tonight? Is really what I'm focusing on. And then I have a lot of resources because we are in the age of technology, and I am a Gen Zer. So we grew up in the age of technology and we know everything there is to know. So I know social media and I know how to navigate to find what I need to find something I'm interested in. So as I said, I love to tune in to Discovery Channel, NASA Channel to see what's happening. I become a big fan of CNN during quarantine. As I said, I'm from Atlanta too, so CNN is a big part of our culture here. So that's kind of, hey, let me get into something that I'm native to, but also is doing so much for the world. So Science Channel, History Channel, everything like that. I'm just really focused and seeing what in the past has led us to where we are right now. One of my favorite shows that I watch with my family all the time is Ancient Aliens on History Channel. Learn about, hey, is there extraterrestrial life and have they been here before, and what is so odd about what we see today that we can't really put together. So I just spend a lot of my time looking at stuff like that and researching and reading articles about the biggest people in technology like Elon Musk right now, and seeing what he's up to and what are different things that he's planning for the foreseeable future.
And that's important. You have to stay up to date with what's happening because that is what is changing the course of so many careers, including yours, including the pathway that you want to go in. You know, technology is changing so quickly that, even that's affecting steps that you would take in your career pathway. So that's great. I'm so encouraged and impressed by you for staying up to date on all of these things on top of such a heavy load of coursework. My gosh. But I mean, you have to love it. Like, you have to have a passion for it. You have to be motivated, to do the things that you're doing. And that's why you're in the position that you're in, because you're all of those things and more.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the what makes me want to get out of my bed and go to my dining room and assemble a box. And I think that really experience happened before quarantine when my boxes first came out. I launched a GoFundMe to raise over $5,000 to donate the boxes to kids in my community who may not have access to science in their own homes. So I went to a school that was down the street from my house and I donated boxes. And it was just one of the most heartfelt things I ever done. It's probably going to stay with me when I go further ahead and when I become more big and popular, because it was just like, hey, these are the first people I got to donate my boxes to and deliver them and give them to the kids that were like in first or second grade, and see smiles on their face and hug them. And then there was this one girl that was like, she kind of looked like me, she acted like me. My parents were like, she has your charisma and everything. So it's just cool to give her a hug and take a picture with her.
Don't you miss that when you're so excited and passionate about what you're doing and you just want to embrace the person and you just want to love on them and, encourage them in that in person interaction? My goodness, I cannot wait to get there. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do when we get back into that space. I'm from Atlanta and I'll definitely be attending some of your events soon to come. So let me know and I will be there.
I will, I got you.
Let's wrap this section up. You've given us so many great resources, tools, and tips, right? Let's talk about what's the advice that you give regularly to middle and high school students who are also interested in pursuing STEM careers.
So, I was talking to a panel today, of course, and we were talking about entrepreneurship. And one thing I always like to share, no matter what you're doing, is to surround yourself with positivity, because that's what we need right now. And we need it all the time in our environment, because negativity can bring you down so far and positivity can bring you up. So that's really what I like to say. surround yourself with the people that are good for you, that push you, but don't push you too hard to the point where you kind of don't want them anymore.
That's a good point because we can sometimes get pushed over the edge, and then what you're passionate about isn't so much something that gets you awake in the morning and wants to keep you in bed. Wow, Temple, that's such great advice. We sat here for the second section and we discussed ways in which a student can become an astrophysicist. And also a little bit about what an astrophysicist does. And Temple gave us a great, very clear sort of definition, which is astrophysicists help and learn ways to help humans learn about outer space from a physics perspective. I'm telling you, my S's and my C's and my P's are all over the place today. And also some of the courses you're taking, geometry, chemistry, physics. My goodness, she's in 8th grade. She's already about 2 to 3 years ahead of herself. That's why, guys, we're wrapping up this second section pretty early. And then also she heard about this career, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a black scientist that inspired her. And then also just her love for astrology. And also, one thing that Temple likes to do and does on a regular basis, and this is something I really think I want our youth listeners to take away, is that she stays up to date with what is happening in the world, with the media. She's up on the most current events. She knows what's happening in her surroundings, as well as worldwide. And she watches shows. She watches NASA, CNN, and also this Discover Channel. And finally, some great advice. She just says, surround yourself with positivity, with people who will push you, but not too much, because you still want to remain motivated and centered and focused in your passions and your purpose. Temple, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this section up, but we'll be right back. All right, we are back for our third and final session. Temple, don't go. We're learning so much from you. Can we just continue? We have about 10 more sections. Can we do that?
Definitely have.
She's like, as long as someone can do my homework and turn it in, make sure they get it.
I don't trust my parents to do my homework. I've asked them, just like jokingly, that I don't think I got A in geometry is what they said. So I was like, okay, let me kind of find something else.
So they won't be able to assist, but that's okay, Temple, because as you mentioned, Gen Z, all you all do is look up the answers and research, and you have the skill sets that you need in order to find and solve the hardest of the hardest problems. So that's no problem. We'll just go through this final section. And of course, we'll always have you back and check up on you along your career pathway. So let's dive into this third section. This section is all about skills. We really want to learn from the skills that you are learning about, that Just Temple also assist the youth in learning themselves and also practicing these skills. So let's talk about it. We hear a lot about the soft skills, the technical skills. Can you list out the skills that you think are most important for the youth to obtain to prepare them for their STEM career pathway and their STEM careers?
So definitely some soft skills that I would say everybody needs to acquire no matter what you go in. And it's also something that you can't really learn in school. It's something that you learn in your life just as it moves on. And communication is one of the biggest things that you will need. You need it no matter what you do, because it's how we humans communicate, no matter if we're talking, if we're looking at each other. And you just need to know, as a public speaker, I communicate with large audiences. So you have to learn eye contact, and you have to learn who are the people that you're talking to. What do they need to hear the most? Are you talking to a group of kids who need to get interested in science? Are you talking to a group of adults that want to learn more about what you're doing and hire you to do different stuff? So you really want to know your audience before you go out there. Um, and again, that's one of my, and it goes into another thing of knowing everything that's your surroundings. As I said, I'm into media. I know it's everything that's happening in the world right now. I go and check Twitter, see what's trending right now. I go to CNN, I see what's happening in space and science. So I know what's happening in the world around me and what I'm growing up in and what I will be going into when I leave my parents' home and when I go to college and when I go into the real world and see what's happening. And then empathy and sympathy and learning how to deal with people's emotions. And that's just one of the most important things because I am an empath. As I said, I'm into zodiac signs, so that really goes with me as a Pisces. But I know how to cry along with somebody that's crying, and I know how to help them out with their feelings. So I think that's something that a lot of people have to learn to move themselves up because you want to be able to feel what a person's feeling, and then they'll like, oh, this person has helped me. This person can help you too.
That's wonderful. When is your birthday?
My birthday's March 9th.
Oh my goodness. I'm February 26th, Pisces sisters, right? But that's so true. My goodness, we can empathize like that with everyone. And
So hard with me being in an air sign household. My mom's a Gemini and my dad's a Libra. So my mom was like, what do I do with the Pisces? Is what she said when I was born, because I also came out a month early. So she was not expecting this. Yeah.
I love it because you're kind of showing us a little bit about your passions with the zodiac sign. So that's so cool. Tell us a little bit about these technical skills.
So for anybody that needs a technical skill, you just really want to focus on what your career path is going to be. I know I have different things that I want to do in my life, but they also all go back to being an astrophysicist and wanting to help people out with STEM girl swag and wanting to help people out knowing stuff. So just kind of, as I said, communication could also be a technical skill. And then also what you're learning in school right now, because what I'm learning in school goes right along with what I want to do in the future, from learning geometry theorems and knowing how to calculate different things. And then in physics and chemistry, because you're always doing chemistry, no matter what specific science area you're in, you always have to mix stuff in and figure out what's going to be the best device. And then physics, astrophysics is all about adding physics to astronomy. So the technical skills.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you said too, communication is a technical skill. I mean, my goodness, that I think there's some truth there. I mean, can we just label communication as just a skill, not necessarily soft or technical, but it is probably
Everybody, everything does it. Plants do it, even if it's not verbally. Animals do it. Bees communicate by dancing, which I think is an incredible fact. I would love to communicate by dancing sometimes too.
and absolutely dancing is such a beautiful form of communication. Let's talk about the importance of these skills. So, yes, communication, it's in everything. We know how important that is. But let's talk a little bit about why is it important for us to continue to hone these skills?
I think it's so important because last year in my social studies class, we learned a little bit about a study where a few humans stopped communicating with others for a while and they actually lost their ability to speak and lost their ability to kind of interact with other humans. So it's just so important because it is a life skill that you need no matter what. Babies communicate even if they don't know how to talk. They start whining, they cry when they're hungry. So communication is just there to help us get out who we are, because can we really be ourselves without communication is a great question. Can I tell you who I am right now? Can I be who I am? Can I public speak right now without communication? I don't think that would work out very well.
Maybe not, but also you might find a way. You never know.
Maybe.
So, what skills will students learn by interacting with your STEM swag boxes?
So definitely a skill that you would learn are a lot of different technical skills, from chemistry to physics to doing math. Math is in it all the time because you have to figure out how much of this do I need? How much of this do I need to mix in? And then chemistry, what is going to happen. Is it going to have a chemical, or is it going to have a physical reaction? Is it going to change physically? Is it going to change chemically? Are these atoms, are these elements, are they going to bond with each other in this experiment? Just doing your research, even if it doesn't say it in the box, do your research on it and you'll figure things out from there. So I use my own technical skills that I'm learning right now, and I can incorporate that into the box and say, hey, I learned how to do this in math class the other day. I learned how to count this. So different things like that.
So, speaking of the skills that you're currently learning, tell us a little bit about the ones that are most challenging for you, and how do these skills help you personally work towards your goal?
So let's talk about one soft and one technical. So a soft one, I'm very impatient. That's a thing that I've always had. My dad used to try to make me spell patience whenever I would be impatient. I don't think I can still do it to this day without typing it out somewhere. But impatient, like I'm very impatient. I want to get stuff through quickly. And then that's also something you have to learn as an entrepreneur. Not everything's going to happen the first time. And you have to listen to what people are saying to you and not cry when you get feedback. Is that something that I used to do a lot? Because I didn't realize how important it was. I thought they were just trying to be mean to me. But feedback is one of the most important things. And then technical, as I said, geometry is very hard. Math has been hard since last year when I took algebra for the first time, as I skipped pre-algebra and went straight to algebra. I had to think in there, and I had to kind of put my brain to work. And then, of course, being a gifted kid, I know a lot of gifted kids that face this breezing through everything until you get to a specific place and you're like, what do I do now?
Wow. And that what do you do now is that I've completed everything because the work was fairly easy or it wasn't challenging enough. What is that there?
So I think anybody that was a gifted learner, I've seen a lot of people throughout quarantine talk about how they've had burnouts, even though before they were able to breeze through assignments. They could type up an assignment, could do math problems easy, but now we're somewhere where we're stuck. And then online learning is hard. Learning without people near you is hard. Even if you are going to school, you have to wear masks all the time. So it's just something that we have to get acquired to, or else it's not going to really work out right in the end.
Absolutely. Yep. There's going to be a little bit of adjustment there. I mean, sometimes that adjustment it happens instantaneously, and sometimes it's just going to take all the way through maybe the next year. And either way, it's fine. It's just I think it's important to do what you're doing, which is once you can pinpoint the challenges that you're having, then you can address them a lot more easily. Talk to the teachers, see what you could do to get some assistance in helping adjust in these really interesting times. But Temple, this wraps up our amazing interview. My goodness, you are just so impressive. That's all I can say. Before we leave, though, I definitely want you to, one more time, plug your handles and give us any additional information about where we can follow your journey.
So everybody go check me out. Instagram is my main platform where I talk about what I'm doing. I show you what I'm doing, who I'm hanging out with, just my same old bubble because of quarantine, but show you what I'm doing in science right now and tell you who I'm talking to. And I do Instagram lives a lot. I've been doing them since April just to help encourage people to get into STEM. And everybody I've talked to has been a woman in STEM. And so go check that out. Instagram is Just Temple, JUSTTEMPLE. All my social media is Just Temple, except Twitter, which is Just Temple One. YouTube is Just Temple, so go check me out there. If you're listening, come and DM me. I'll talk to you about maybe if you want to start a business or what you felt during this podcast.
Wow. Temple talked to us about soft skills, technical skills, some of which are communication, being aware of your surrounding. My goodness, that is so important. Empathy, sympathy, and also focusing on your career pathway skill sets. That's so key. Really honing down, keying in on what those technical skills are that you need to master in your particular career pathway of choice. And then we talked about skills are important because they're life skills. They're skills that will be with you, not even just for your career pathway, but they work throughout all aspects of your life, We talked about the skills that students will receive from engaging with the STEM swag box, some of which are the technical skills with chemistry, physics, and math, and some of which are some skills that Temple actually brings from what she's currently learning and brings it straight to that STEM swag box. We talked about some of her skill challenges, that geometry, that is,
It's hard.
it's hard.
My whole class, they were talking about one day, oh, I just got my driver's permit. I was like, who? Not me. I'm 13. I'm in 8th grade still. You guys need to slow down. So that was pretty interesting to watch happen in the group chat.
Oh wow. Well, you'll get there and you're extremely focused and everything is going to work out in its perfect timing. And some of those things also impatience, Temple.
I do still need to work on that to this day. Um, it's never really left me. So I need to work on that. Don't tell anybody though.
The honesty. I think we all need to work with that one. So we appreciate you for, I guess, starting the bandwagon there. And then finally, her main platform, Instagram. Of course, follow her on all other social media platforms, but Instagram is where she truly connects with the youth, and it's at Just Temple. And that's actually where we discovered her as well. So she's got some amazing things on that platform. Temple, any last words before we wrap up this awesome segment?
Thank you so much for having me. I love doing this, talking about what I'm doing and informing more people about what I'm doing, just to encourage more people because that's what I'm all about is getting minorities and girls in STEM, and showing that it's not just something for a boy or it's not just something that's not cool or perceived as not cool because it's super duper cool. And you can put it into all aspects of your life and you have a cool conversation with others. You can have a cool conversation starter at a party or something. So just follow me, come DM me, talk to me. I love to talk to you about all your experiences at STEM, maybe being an entrepreneur. Love being an entrepreneur is one of my favorite things ever. So everybody go check me out on Instagram. Come and DM me, private message me. I'll say hi. I don't bite.
Temple, you are so sweet. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you becoming an amazing scientist. We're gonna follow your journey. We're looking forward to having you back and checking in with you. Have a great day, Temple. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.